First off, let me start off by saying congratulations to the New England Patriots, Super Bowl 49 champions, something a quarter of the way through the season none of us would have seen coming. I know I most especially did not and made my voice known on the topic, so sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And apparently I didn't know, and a lot of us didn't know. But congratulations to them. You could talk about the DeflateGates, and you could talk about SpyGate, and you could talk about DeflateGate, and you could talk about this, and you could talk about that. But at the end of the day, they got another ring. At the end of the day, the New England Patriots are hoisting the Lombardi Trophy for the fourth time in their organization's history. I mean, major props to them. They are the NFL's equivalent of the San Antonio Spurs, a team with a long, sustained period of success that has a few championships sprinkled in, but always one of those consistent forces in the league, something to be admired, something to respect, sometimes maybe especially in the case of the Patriots, something to hate. But the bottom line is they got the job done. But why did the Patriots win Super Bowl 49? That's what I'm here to talk about today. And I think you really have to go all the way back to 1994 when Robert Kraft bought the team. That's where it really started. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Since he's been the owner the past 20 years, this organization has made it to 7 Super Bowls. They've won 4 of them. He's the one that got the Gillette Stadium deal done. So you have that newer stadium in Foxborough after so many years of that organization begging and pleading with that area to get that new stadium done. Robert Kraft came in. He got that stadium done. He put the infrastructure in place. Again, I emphasize, 20 years as an owner, 7 trips to the Super Bowl, 4 Super Bowl championships. Great leadership always begins at the top and trickles down. And you see it all throughout professional sports. When you have a lack of quality leadership at the top, you have a lack of quality ownership, it reflects in the performance of the rest of the organization underneath. It wilts, it crumbles. Well, most certainly the infrastructure of the Patriots is as strong as any organization in the National Football League, and Robert Kraft deserves a tremendous amount of credit for that, as he deserves a tremendous amount of credit for hiring Bill Belichick away from the Jets in 2000. People forget that Belichick was the next guy for the New York Jets in 2000. He was going to be the one that replaced Bill Parcells. And then something happens, and he doesn't take the Jets job, even though he took the Jets job, and he ends up going to the New England Patriots. And people could talk about how great and genius of a move this was, but at that time, this was something that was very controversial. You're talking also about a Bill Belichick at his previous NFL head coaching job with the Cleveland Browns. It didn't go well. It didn't end well. So this whole notion of you don't want to hire a coach that failed somewhere else, Bill Belichick is a retread. Bill Belichick was a failure as an NFL head coach the first go-around with the Cleveland Browns. And Robert Kraft believed in the guy. He believed that this was the right man to lead his organization going forward, and therefore they brought him in. And you look at the rest and say the rest is history. And it all starts in 2000 with that 2000 draft. Belichick's first year at the helm as head coach, when they drafted this skinny kid out of Michigan who couldn't even get playing time consistently over Drew Henson at Michigan in Tom Brady. A guy that was a nice player. When Henson didn't have the team, Brady would do good things with him, but yet Michigan always wanted to play Drew Henson because he was going to be the next great thing. Here's this kid in the 6th round, no athleticism, questionable arm strength, questionable physique, whether or not he'd be able to hold up to the NFL level, questionable in the fact that if he couldn't even be the clear-cut starter for his college team, how the hell could you ever expect him to be a starter in the National Football League? Well, as soon as 2001, we found out the truth, and 14 years later, Tom Brady is not only one of the greatest quarterbacks in modern times, he is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all times, if not perhaps the single greatest quarterback of all time. So you've got great ownership, a great head coach, and a great quarterback. It's pretty hard not to succeed in that case, but you can't do it just with that alone. Part of the New England Patriots mantra over the years is having that philosophy, having that system in place, and finding guys who fit that system, whether it be through the draft or via free agency. In free agency, bringing in guys like Danny Amendola, LeGarrette Blount, Brandon LaFell, Rob Ninkovich over the years. These type of guys that all come in and make significant contributions to this 2014 Patriots team, whether throughout the year or in bits and spurts, especially at the end of the season come playoff time. One of the great things about the Patriots, one of the smart things about the Patriots over the years that we've knocked them for at times is their willingness to move on when the time is right. Whether that be the guys like the Richard Seymours of the world or the Logan Mankins of the world, being able to take those guys and trade them off for draft pick commodities, and at the same point in time being able to keep themselves in a good position salary cap wise. Not overaging their roster too much, not overextending themselves resource-wise on aging veteran players. This has been a big key to the Patriots' success. However, one thing the Patriots did a little different this offseason compared to what they've done in previous offseasons is they did go a little bit splashier in the free agent route. After so many years of addressing the secondary so much, so consistently, and so consistently failing to have a big-time secondary, the Patriots said that's enough. We've got to fix that. We've got to change that. And they went out and signed Darrelle, Revis, and Brandon Brown. Browner was solid. Revis was Revis Island. He was a stud in 2014. What an incredible player. And you could really see in general, though, the difference that these two big physical corners on the outside made for that New England Patriots defense, especially come playoff time, especially come that championship round and Super Bowl 49. It's that understanding of you've got the system in place, you're going to stay true to who you are, but at some point in time, maybe if it hasn't worked all the way like you want it to, you have to be comfortable to admit that you were wrong and go outside of the box and do something that is a little uncomfortable to you in order to get over that hump and take that next step. And bringing in guys like Darrelle Revis and Brandon Brown most certainly did that. It's that consistency from the leadership of Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. It's that consistency of having that system in place and being able to teach that system and coach that system and find guys that fit that system. It's having a not so star-based system, having a system-based system that is based on guys making contributions, understanding their roles, and maximizing on what they can bring to the table. And then you look at this 2014 NFL season. Look, this is a 2-2 Patriots team that a quarter of the way through the season looked like they could be cooked. I mean, they looked terrible. They struggled to beat the Raiders. They got destroyed by the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday night. And it was bad. And people should have been questioning this team because that's how bad they looked. But again, it's that consistency of the leadership of Robert Kraft and then Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. It's that belief and consistency of that system and in that system that allows a team like this to start off like that and be able to figure things out. And they most certainly did. They went 10-2 the rest of the way in the regular season after that Monday night game against the Chiefs. They finished 12-4 in the regular season. They beat the Broncos in the regular season. That guaranteed them home field advantage throughout the playoffs. This was a team that put themselves in a good position. And they needed to put themselves in a good position because in that divisional round, they went down 14 points twice to the Baltimore Ravens. A lot of lesser organizations, a lot of lesser teams would have folded in that case, but the Patriots did not. They showed the heart of a champion. You saw the leadership from players such as a Tom Brady, such as a Vince Wilfork on the defensive side of the ball. And you saw that they were able to keep playing. They got creative. They got Belichick-y, if you will, and figured out by hook or by crook a way to win and beat the Baltimore Ravens. They won a game that, frankly, they should have lost. If we're being really, truly honest here. The Ravens match up very well against the Patriots. Frankly, for most of the game, I think they outplayed the Patriots. But at the end of the day, the Patriots got it done. They found a way to get it done. They had the heart of a champion. They won a game they should have lost, which is what truly great teams do. And then their experience and physicality just overwhelmed the Colts in that AFC Championship game. So now you get to Super Bowl 49 and the game itself. Why did they win this game? Well, you look at them offensively. It was that short passing game of the New England Patriots that really exposed Seattle's lack of depth in the secondary, particularly at the corner position. We could talk about Richard Sherman, and that's great. But once you get past Richard Sherman at corner, what do they really have? Byron Maxwell? Jeremy Lane went out early in that game. They really didn't have anybody that could match up with Edelman and Amendola in the slot. And that was a huge problem, and that was a huge matchup nightmare for the Seahawks all game long. When you're asking a big physical Harold Simon to try and defend guys like Edelman and Amendola in the slot is predictably not going to go well. Also, the Seahawks just really couldn't match up with Rob Gronkowski. whether it be Cam Chancellor or one of their fast athletic linebackers. Gronk was just too much for them. He made some big key plays at some big key times. He just was too much for that Seahawks defense to contain and match up with. Another key thing is once they got down by 10 points in the second half, the Patriots stayed aggressive. They kept coming. They didn't quit. They kept believing. And they kept playing hard. Whereas I felt the Seahawks kind of rested on their laurels a little bit and backed off, especially on the offensive side of the ball. The Patriots did not. The Patriots stayed aggressive. They kept coming. They played a full 60-minute game. Also, another key on offense is that they didn't get out physical and intimidated by that Seahawks defense. Whereas the Broncos clearly did last year, the Patriots did not this year. They weren't scared. They weren't intimidated. They weren't out-muscled. They weren't out-willed by that great Seahawks Legion of Boom defense. And at the end of the day, offensively, they still had Tom Brady. That is a great difference maker. That's a great equalizer. Peyton Manning, he is not. In big-time clutch situations, Tom Brady is still Tom Brady. You saw in Super Bowl 49, even at moments where he made some bad, horrible mistakes, including that first pick to Jeremy Lane in the red zone. That was atrocious. Even his second interception was really bad. At the end of the day, he's still Tom Brady. He still threw for 328 yards. He still threw for 4 touchdown passes. He still led this team on 2 touchdown drives in the fourth quarter that gave him the lead after being down double digits. They still had Tom Brady. And, man, you could see the impact that his leadership has on this team, the belief they have in him, the belief he has in himself, the belief that they have in that common goal and that common vision. You definitely saw that play out in Super Bowl 49. And then defensively, they were able to contain Russell Wilson in the pocket. They were able to, with Revis and Browner on the outside, really make Doug Baldwin and Jermaine Kearse largely non-factors, holding them to 4 receptions for 48 yards, keeping Luke Wilson completely out of the game plan for the Seahawks. I don't think he had a catch. The Seahawks were already deficient in that area. And yes, Chris Matthews came out of nowhere and had an outstanding game in the Super Bowl with over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. But the Seahawks receivers just couldn't get open. They just couldn't get separation. And with being able to contain Russell Wilson in the pocket, meaning that you didn't allow him to run on you for over 100 yards, what did Russell Wilson really have to go to? Because Baldwin and Kearse and Wilson were just flat out non-factors. And another key thing I look at is late in that game, there was a crossroads moment. There was a pivotal situation where you got 1st and goal on the 5. There could have been that argument made for the Patriots to just let the Seahawks score. And then with that time and timeouts in your pocket and the fact that you still have Tom Brady trying to go back down and score either a field goal to send the game to overtime or trying to score a game-winning touchdown. But the Patriots didn't. They believed in themselves. They had confidence in who they were. And by God, they weren't going to let the Seahawks score. They were going to make their stand defensively, and they were going to win or lose doing it. Now, to be fair, it also helps that arguably, easily, in my mind, the worst play call, not only in Super Bowl history, but perhaps NFL history, kept the ball out of Marshawn Lynch's hands on 2nd and goal at the 1. And you see this ridiculous decision to throw a slant, knowing that the Patriots have to be anticipating that slant. I don't care what Russell Wilson saw. Maybe he needs to get some damn bifocals because his eyes didn't see everything he needed to see. A terrible play call, a poor throw, a horrendous decision. And then at the end of the day, on that play, Malcolm Butler, an undrafted rookie out of West Alabama, representing so much of what the New England Patriots are. Those guys that don't make it anywhere else. Those guys that aren't big-time talents, but those guys that could come in, fill a role, fill a spot, play their role, play it well, and understand situations. Malcolm Butler stepping in, making one of the arguably greatest plays in the history of the Super Bowl right there, cinching it for the New England Patriots, your Super Bowl 49 champions. To me, it's easy to see why the New England Patriots won Super Bowl 49. It's a lot of what they've done over the years. It's a lot of what they were able to do this year. Some of it also in the game itself comes down to what the Seahawks failed to do. Somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose. But there's no doubt about it in my mind, cheating or not, you believe in this or not, the New England Patriots deserve to be Super Bowl 49 champions. They earned it. No question in my mind about that.